Hi, this is Victoria Campisi with 1851 Franchise, and today I'm here with Catherine Monson, CEO of Propelled Brands. Thanks so much for joining us today, Catherine.
Victoria, I'm excited to be here and with 1851.
Awesome. So to get started, can you just share a little bit about your journey to becoming a leader in franchising?
I'm happy to, but I have to go even further back to tell you how I fell in love with the business of small business. My mom and dad started with one preschool and then a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth. And starting at about 8 years old, on the weekends, my dad and I would drive to one or two of the schools and mow the lawn and clean the bathrooms. They make tiny little toilets for tiny little butts and clean the kitchen. And since he and I were the only ones in the house that enjoyed organ meats, I know that sounds crazy. Think liver, heart, gizzards, things like that. Kidney too. Then we would cook organ meats for dinner because every one of the preschools had a kitchen for a hot lunch for the children. And we talk about business, and we talk about business on the drive up, and we talk about business on the drive back. And I literally did that 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old. And then when I was in high school, I actually worked in the business in the office after school. So this opportunity to be in small business and to understand things like customer service and accounts receivable and accounts payable and cash flow and managing employees and creating good culture. Seriously, my dad and I talked about that starting at 8 years old. So I fell in love with the business of small business. And then quite accidentally in 1980, I was looking for a job. I had been a buyer at Beckman Instruments for 3 years, and I loved being a buyer at Beckman Instruments. It was so much fun, and I got to meet like Andy Grove, the founder at Advanced Micro Devices, and I was buying programmable chips. I mean, it was really a great place to be as a woman in my early 20s. It was a great experience. But I woke up one day and realized my dream of being a president or a CEO of an organization was not going to ever happen if I stayed in purchasing. Don't laugh, but I'll say purchasing managers or purchasing agents become purchasing managers. And you never hear of a purchasing manager becoming a CEO or becoming a president. So I knew I needed to get into a different line of work. I have a degree from Pepperdine University in business administration. And so I said, what are the ways to get to the C-suite? Well, it's engineering, but that's not me. Finance. And I understand finance, but I can't say I love it. And sales and marketing. So I went and started looking for a sales or marketing job. And I got hired in 1980, so over 43 years ago, by a small franchisor called Sir Speedy Printing Centers. And I was part of the team that took that company from under 200 locations to over 850. And then we bought a printing franchisor in Europe, and I had the opportunity to run that. And then we bought our biggest competitor in the United States, Pip Printing. So I got to have all this great experience. And so after falling in love with the business of small business, after about a year into Sir Speedy, I fell in love with the business of franchising. So I had this dream since I was in high school of running an organization. I loved small business. I love franchising. Sir Speedy was my start in August of 1980. And I grew up in that organization, got very active in the International Franchise Association, participated on the Franchise Relations Committee for about 8 or 9 years, wrote articles for Franchising World Magazine, continued to grow in my career at Sir Speedy and Pip and Franchise Services, Inc., which is the holding company that owned those brands and some other brands. And then got tapped on the shoulder to be on the board of the IFA and started in that role in 2008. So it's just been it's my passion about small business. It's my passion about franchising, and it's my desire to lead organizations. You know, I abhor a leadership vacuum. I can remember, in high school and college when you had to work on projects with other students and you always needed a leader. And we'd say, who wants to be leader? And I'd count 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Nobody's saying yes. Okay, I'll say yes, because I just can't stand a leadership vacuum. And I love what I do. I love franchising because I get to make a difference in people's lives. I get to help people fulfill the dream of business ownership, create jobs, create economic output, and create generational wealth for their families. And what's so fabulous about franchising is it doesn't matter if you're male or female, black, white, or purple, short or tall, what side of the railroad tracks you were born on or grew up on. You find a good brand you can be passionate about, and you follow the system and work hard and bring that franchisor ideas to even be better, you'll be very successful. And that's why I love franchising, and that's how I got where I am today.
That's amazing. What are some unique challenges and opportunities for women in franchising?
Well, first, I need to let you know that I was in the business world in the last few years of the 70s and all of the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s and now the 2020s. There was a time where there were challenges for women in business. But I think if you're a woman today and you're holding on to nothing more than a victim mentality, that there's something against your ability to succeed because you're a woman, you're the one holding yourself back. If you talk to me in the 70s or the 80s, maybe even the first half of the 90s, I might have agreed with you. But that excuse is out the window. And so if you're male or female doesn't matter, short or tall doesn't matter, black or white or purple doesn't matter. What matters is that you work hard and you work smart and you provide value to your employer. Now, if you're the franchisee and you're the owner, the same would apply to you. You can see over my shoulder, got to figure out which side it in. You can see over my shoulder the 5 acronyms on that sheet. And this is what I believe about life. I believe that no matter what you're doing, if you want to be the best president, the best pastor, the best parent, you can implement these 5 common characteristics of highly successful people and increase in your success. So that stands for positive mental attitude, goal-directed behavior, self-motivation, a sense of urgency, and never stopping learning. And one of my favorite things to do is give this presentation that I'm giving you a tiny snippet of right now to high school kids and college kids. And I've had the opportunity to do that many, many times. And I expect that I will have many, many opportunities in the future to do the same. But the great thing about these five common characteristics of all highly successful people is they are 100% learned skills. It's not DNA. It is learned skills. I had to learn to have a positive mental attitude. I grew up in an abusive alcoholic home. My mom was a big, mean drunk. She blamed me, the eldest child, for all of her ills. I have every excuse to be a victim. I have every excuse to say, woe is me. I had a bad childhood. I can't succeed. No. I make a decision to be a victor. And through all my learning and all my study and all my mentors and reading great books and reading articles and listening to podcasts, I've come to believe that there are 5 common characteristics. And you can learn positive mental attitude, and you can learn goal-directed behavior, and you can learn how to be more motivated, self-motivation. You can learn to develop a sense of urgency, and you can absolutely learn to never stop learning. So if I was a male or female, it doesn't matter, and I worked for a franchisor and I had visions of the C-suite, I would make sure that I was bringing my employer more value than I was being paid for. Because if you bring more value than you're being paid, then you're adding more value and you'll be noticed and you'll be given the opportunity for promotions. If I was a franchisee, doesn't matter if I'm black or white, I would make sure that I was following the system, that I was working hard, that I had a great positive attitude so my employees wanted to be around me, that I had goal-directed behavior, that I set goals to grow my franchise. And I looked at those goals, if not every day, at least once a week. And every month I got financial statements and I compared my results against my budget. And I would make sure that every day I did something, even if it was only 5 minutes, to fulfill my goals as a franchisee. And I'd have that self-motivation engine pumping and running. And I'd make sure I did 1 or 2 or 3 more things every single day than I wanted to do, right? Thanking an employee, writing a thank you note to a new customer, making a call, a sales call or something, 1 or 2 or 3 more things than I thought I had time to do in that day, that self-motivation, doing a little bit more. I'd have a sense of urgency not to let problems fester, to solve them quickly. And I'd be constantly learning about my industry, about my products and services, about related industries, about management, about leadership. And I'd get better in all of those, and that would guarantee my success, whether I worked for a franchisor or I worked for a franchisee or I was a franchisee. So I think that if you're focused on woe is me, I'm a woman, I can't be successful, you are stuck in the 70s, you're stuck in the 80s, and you're holding yourself back. And I know that's tough words. I know that I make a lot of women who want to be victims, woe is me, I'm a woman, I can't be as successful. I make them uncomfortable. But I think this is 2024. Women, girls, we need to get past that.
Great. How do you define success in your role?
Well, for me, as the CEO of a multi-brand franchisor, it is, are my franchisees making good money? You know, I believe there are I believe there are franchising best practices. And the first and most important one is franchisee profitability. And in all 4 of our brands, we are measuring profitability. We're looking at ways to take cost out for franchisees. We're looking for ways to drive profitable sales volume. So how do I define success? If all my franchisees have high growth, profitable sales and are making good money, that's easy. And that's number one. Certainly, I would also say as a multi-brand franchisor, now with 4 brands, it'd be let's get brand 5, then let's get brand 6. I want to continue to grow the platform for sure. I want to train and develop all of the team members that work for us. I have been so blessed in my 43 plus year career in franchising to have lots of mentors. I'm happy to mentor people, both who are on my team and who are outside my team. And so I define success by making a difference every day. In franchisee success, in my team member success. And then I'm also going to say I define that as well by protecting the franchise business model. I'm very active with the International Franchise Association. If we're asked to send a letter to our congressman or to the administration, not only do I send it myself, then I forward that on to all my team and ask them to do the same. And I forward it on to all my franchisees, asking them to do the same. And then I forward it on to all my CEO franchisor friends, asking them to have their team and their franchisees do it. So I am not going to sit back. I'm going to be a person of action, and I'm going to do something every single day to help franchisees and help protect the franchise business model.
Awesome. What advice would you give to franchisors looking to support female franchisees?
Again, I've already said, I don't think that there's a difference. I think we need to give all of our franchisees the tools, the training, the resources to be successful. Business coach or business consultant or field rep, whatever your brand calls them, the field team members that are smart, that understand the model, that can help franchisees see through the chaos and the clutter and help teach them how to work on the most important things, the few things that really drive success in the business. I think it's important to have great training, great support, outstanding marketing, great mentorship programs. All of those things work together to support all of your franchisees.
Great. And what is your advice for women who want to enter the franchise industry?
If you want to become a franchisee, I think it starts by finding a brand you're passionate about. You want to be so excited, like I am, to go to work every single day. So a brand that you're excited about in an industry that you can love and get behind. And then again, the 5 common characteristics, follow them, get better every day on positive mental attitude and goal-directed behavior and self-motivation and a sense of urgency and never stopping learning. Perfect your craft. Likewise, if you want to work for a franchisor, or if you have an independent business and you're thinking of franchising it and becoming a franchisor, it's work hard, work smart, get involved with the International Franchise Association, get your certified franchise executive designation, because going through that CFE program, you're going to learn so much more about franchising. You know, be a student of your industry and be a student of franchising, whether you're on the franchisee side or the franchisor side, and that will serve you very, very well.
Great. Is there anything else you think our audience should know?
You have the opportunity and the responsibility to create a great life for yourself. Don't be a victim, be a victor. Make decisions that lead to that victor lifestyle. and develop a positive mental attitude. I absolutely believe that that's foundational. Does that mean Pollyanna, everything's perfect? No, no, no. But a positive mindset helps you get through the toughest times. I have a couple quotes. Let me just see which one I want. I think the one I'm going to share with you right now, well, I'm going to go back one. I mean, the world of achievement has always belonged to the optimist. And Colin Powell said, optimism is a force multiplier. That positive mental attitude, that optimism is absolutely powerful. And then I've said a couple times, work hard. Vince Lombardi said, to achieve success, whatever the job we have, we must pay a price. And that price is focus, hard work, dedication, getting it done. So that's what I would add. I think we all can create fabulous lives by practicing the 5 common characteristics of highly successful people, no matter what our role is.
Awesome. Well, that's everything I have for you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Great, Victoria. It's great seeing you. Take care and say hi to all my friends at 1851.
Will do.
Thanks.